Sami Zayn's career was almost killed before the greatest storyline in modern wrestling history could even begin, and the man who would have buried him was Vince McMahon. WWE Hall of Famer Bully Ray revealed that if McMahon had still controlled creative, Zayn would have been written out of the Bloodline the moment he started getting over more than Roman Reigns, because that's exactly what Vince did to wrestlers who threatened his chosen stars. But Triple H took over creative in July 2022, and what happened next was the explosive 9-month emotional masterpiece that proved long-form storytelling could still shake the wrestling world to its core. If you're just finding us, welcome to AlphaWar Room. Hit subscribe so you never miss what they don't want you to know. The plan was never supposed to work. In April 2022, Sami Zayn was a directionless heel with nothing to do, and WWE booked him in a throwaway angle where he would try to weasel his way into the Bloodline for a few weeks, get rejected, and disappear. It was filler, meaningless television designed to kill time. But Zayn's portrayal of the goofy geek desperate for acceptance from the cool kids struck a nerve with audiences in ways no one predicted. He wasn't just funny, he was achingly human. Roman Reigns and the Usos played their roles so perfectly that fans stopped wanting to see Sami fail. They wanted him to succeed. They wanted the toxic family to accept him. WWE recognized they had stumbled onto something far bigger than anyone planned, and under Triple H's creative direction, they let it breathe instead of killing it. Here's what makes this story so explosive. Sami Zayn himself admitted he never got on screen with Roman Reigns until Triple H took over creative. That's not speculation, that's fact. In an interview with BT Sports' Ariel Helwani, Zayn said he doesn't know if the storyline would have happened under Vince McMahon, but the timing was undeniable. The first time he finally appeared on screen with Roman was on the 19th of August 2022 episode of SmackDown in Montreal, and it happened after Triple H replaced Vince as head of creative in July. That backstage segment in Montreal changed everything. Zayn took a Claymore kick from Drew McIntyre to protect Roman Reigns, and suddenly the story had room to grow. Bully Ray didn't hold back when he explained what would have happened under Vince. He said that if Sami started getting over more than Roman, Vince would have said, "Damn it, Sami's getting over more than Roman. We've got to stop this. How do we stop it, boss? Fire Sami." Bully clarified he wasn't being literal about firing, but the message was clear. Vince would have done something to write Sami out of the equation the moment he threatened to overshadow the tribal chief. That's how Vince operated. He protected his chosen stars at all costs, even if it meant killing organic fan reactions. Triple H's creative philosophy saved this storyline. He understood what Vince never could, that elevating Sami Zayn didn't diminish Roman Reigns, it made him more interesting. It gave the Bloodline depth and emotional stakes that transformed them from a dominant faction into a Shakespearean tragedy waiting to collapse. The core tension was built on two relationships pulling Sami in opposite directions. On one side was Jey Uso, who didn't trust this outsider and made it clear every single week. On the other was Kevin Owens, Sami's best friend for over 2 decades in real life and across wrestling promotions worldwide. Owens warned him repeatedly the Bloodline wasn't his family, would never accept him as family, and was only using him as a tool. But Sami kept chasing validation from Roman. He kept trying to prove himself worthy. Week after week, layer after layer, the audience watched a man sacrifice his dignity for a place at the table. By Survivor Series 2022, Sami had earned his moment. He saved Roman Reigns from being pinned by Kevin Owens, then brutally laid out his lifelong friend and set him up for Jey to finish. It was the ultimate act of loyalty, the final proof of his worth. Roman gave him the honorary use shirt on the 23rd of September 2022. Jey Uso embraced him. Even Jey, the skeptic, finally accepted him. The geek had won over the cool kids. But that victory came at a cost. Kevin Owens predicted from the beginning. Sami had betrayed his real family for a manufactured one. He had abandoned friendship for power. And Roman Reigns, the manipulative tribal chief, began to see Sami not as a brother, but as a weakness. The paranoia crept in slowly. Roman started questioning Sami's commitment. He grew irritated when Sami showed hesitation. The same loyalty that earned Sami his place became the weapon Roman used to control him. The breaking point arrived on Raw XXX, the 30th anniversary episode, when the Bloodline held tribal court for the trial of Sami Zayn. Roman accused him of having a soft spot for Kevin Owens. He was ready to cast judgment and kick Sami out of the family. The drama was suffocating. Paul Heyman, ever the manipulator, played his role. The audience held its breath. Then Jey Uso, the man who had spent months refusing to trust Sami, stepped forward and defended him. Jey presented a compelling argument for Sami's loyalty and convinced Roman to declare him not guilty. But Roman added a chilling condition. Sami would have one final test at Royal Rumble 2023. He had to help destroy Kevin Owens once and for all. The match itself was brutal. Roman Reigns defended his undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Owens in the main event, with Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn at ringside. The chemistry between Reigns and Owens was world-class, and Sami's internal conflict played out in real time. He hesitated, he wavered, but Roman secured the victory by slamming Kevin's head into the steel ring steps twice, then finishing with a devastating spear. The match was over. Kevin Owens had lost. But that wasn't the worst of it. The Usos and Solo Sikoa stormed the ring and handcuffed Owens to the ropes. They beat him mercilessly, while Roman watched with a sadistic smile. Then the tribal chief grabbed a steel chair and wound up to bash Kevin's skull in. Sami couldn't take it anymore. He stepped in front of Roman and tried to reason with him. He begged him to stop, saying Kevin had already been defeated and that attacking a handcuffed man was beneath Roman Reigns. For a moment, it seemed like Roman might listen. Instead, Roman handed the chair to Sami. He ordered him to finish the job. He demanded Sami prove his loyalty one last time by destroying his best friend while Kevin was defenseless and handcuffed. Over 45,000 fans began chanting Sami's name. The tension was unbearable. Every person in the Alamodome understood the weight of this choice. Sami held the chair, staring at Kevin, then at Roman, then back at Kevin. His hands trembled. The crowd roared louder. Then Sami Zayn smashed the chair across Roman Reigns' back. The explosion of sound was so loud that the building's microphones distorted and peaked. Bleacher Report called it one of the biggest pops of all time, and they weren't exaggerating. It was a moment of genuine catharsis that displaced both actual Rumble matches as the emotional main event of the show. Sami had chosen friendship over power. He had chosen conscience over the family that used him. In that single swing, he fractured Roman Reigns' empire. The Bloodline turned on Sami immediately. Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa attacked him viciously. Roman joined in, delivering brutal punishment, but Jey Uso didn't. He rolled out of the ring and walked away. He couldn't bring himself to attack the man he had come to genuinely care about. Jey had spent months as the skeptic, the one who didn't trust Sami, and now he was the only member of the Bloodline who refused to destroy him. That silent act of defiance was as powerful as Sami's betrayal. It confirmed what the audience had believed all along. Sami Zayn had earned real loyalty, real brotherhood, from the one person in the Bloodline who mattered most. Royal Rumble went off the air with two broken bodies lying in the ring. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, battered and bruised, side by side. Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa were booed out of San Antonio's Alamodome with nuclear heat. The story had reached its peak, but it wasn't over. The fallout was only beginning. Wrestling journalists were unanimous in their praise. Bleacher Report called it WWE's greatest storyline ever, and proof that long-form storytelling done well could outweigh nearly anything else in professional wrestling. Sports Illustrated described the Royal Rumble angle as one of the great angles in WWE history and noted that no legend or surprise return could have improved the moment. The emotional investment was so complete that even The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin appearing would have cheapened it. The story belonged to Sami, Roman, Jey, and Kevin, no one else. The success of the storyline created an unexpected problem for WWE. Cody Rhodes had won the Men's Royal Rumble match earlier in the night, earning a championship match at WrestleMania 39. But after the main event angle, the most logical WrestleMania match seemed to be Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn, not Cody. The fans had invested 9 months into Sami's journey. They wanted to see him finish what he started. WWE faced the same dangerous situation from 2014 when fans violently turned on Batista in favor of Daniel Bryan. They couldn't afford to repeat that mistake. The solution required careful storytelling. Sami was given a championship match against Roman at Elimination Chamber in his hometown of Montreal. Jey Uso turned on him and cost him the title, transferring heat to the Usos and setting up the real payoff. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens challenging the Usos for the Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. The fans needed to want that victory more than they wanted Sami versus Roman. It was a calculated risk, but WWE understood the power of what they had created. What made the storyline work was its emotional authenticity. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso delivered compelling acting performances for months. Paul Heyman played his manipulative role to perfection. But it was Sami Zayn's portrayal of a man desperate for acceptance, torn between loyalty and friendship, that anchored the entire narrative. He made people care. He made them believe. And when the moment came when he had to choose between the toxic family that used him and the friend who always stood by him, his choice felt earned and real. Bully Ray had it right when he said Sami went from appearing on Main Event, WWE's lower card show, to becoming one of the most entertaining and exciting main eventers in the company. That transformation didn't happen by accident. It happened because Triple H recognized something Vince McMahon never would have allowed, that sometimes the best stories aren't the ones you plan. They're the ones you let grow organically, even if they threaten to overshadow your handpicked stars. Sami Zayn hit Roman Reigns with a steel chair at Royal Rumble 2023, and in doing so, he proved that wrestling's greatest moments happen when creative trusts the audience and lets emotion drive the story instead of ego.
The STF is locked. Submit and subscribe.